Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Simone Ferreira. I'm an advisor at EducationUSA PUC Rio de Janeiro. It's a pleasure to be here today and to have a great institution here with us. So we have the representatives from Purdue University. I'm going to present them in a few minutes. And thank you for you all that are here with us joining the session. So I would like to let you know that the session is going to be conducted in English. So if you have any issues and if you don't understand anything, you can use the chat function and I'll be glad to answer your questions in Portuguese. Everyone can send the questions through the chat, através do chat, through the chat function. And at the end of the presentation, I will select the questions to be answered by the university's representatives. Also, I would like to highlight that we are going to have very important events next week. So we'll have on August 17th, next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Rio de Janeiro time, another webinar with Purdue University for graduate students. So if you go to our website, educationusa.org.br, or to our social media, Facebook, Instagram, you'll be able to see the registration link to join this webinar. And remember, this webinar, the webinar on August 17 is for graduate students, graduate candidates. Also, you have on August 25th, 25 de agosto, the EducationUSA virtual fair with the participation of 80 higher education institutions. So I encourage you all to go to our website and make your registration, and I will add the registration link to the chat really soon. Jefferson, our advisor from Brazil, I'm going to ask you please to copy and paste the registration link here. So let me introduce you to our wonderful presents now. So we have here today Dave T. Boker. David is the director of the Office of Future Engineers at Purdue University. You have Eugene Wang. She's a Senior Assistant Director of International Admissions at Purdue University. And you have a student, a great student, a sophomore student, almost junior high, Isabela de Salvo Fontoura. Falei certinho o seu nome, Isabela? She's a student of Aeronautical and Astronautical Engineering at Purdue University. So thank you for being here today. I'm going to mute my mic, and David, the floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and get the presentation set up here. Thank you so much for the kind introductions. Eugene, Isabella, is there anything else you'd like to kind of add a little bit about yourself while I'm kind of getting this set up?
Sure, I could just say hi to everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Eugene Wang. I'm the Senior Assistant Director for International Admissions here at Purdue. It's great to be here today. I have been at Purdue for 2 years, and I have worked with some great Brazil students, so I'm very excited about this session. And I will pass the mic to Isabella.
So hello, everyone. My name is Isabella. As Simone has said, I am currently a sophomore, so I'm studying the second year at Purdue University. I'm studying aerospace engineering, and it will be a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here, and it will be a pleasure to talk to you all about Purdue a little bit more, so you can have the feeling of how it is to study there academically and personally as well. So it's a big pleasure, and we hope that you all enjoy this presentation.
Awesome, we're so glad. It's good to see you three, you two as well, even though we're not all in the same room. So, and once again, I'm David Boker. I've been with the College of Engineering. Holy cow. Well, okay, wow. I would say for over 20 years, and have my undergraduate degree from our Polytechnic, which is one of our colleges here, and a master's in education. So I've tried to leave Purdue, but I can't. I just love it too much. So I haven't been able to do that. So please make sure if you have questions, as Simone mentioned, to put those in the chat. We'd be happy to try and answer those for you. And we thought we'd start out with just a little picture show and tell. And so this is actually the building that I'm in right now. So this is where I'm coming from, which is our Neil Armstrong Hall of Engineering, which many of you probably know who Neil Armstrong is. We have the first man on the moon and the last person or man that's been on the moon, and have over 25 astronauts that have gone through Purdue University. Most are engineers. I think we have one that's a physicist from Purdue. So you can kind of get a sense, this is our campus. We are located in West Lafayette, Indiana. So we're in the US in Indiana, about 2 hours south of Chicago, Illinois. If that gives you kind of a sense. And an hour north of Indianapolis, Indiana. We do some fun things with like autonomous vehicles on the Motor Speedway, if you've heard of the big Indianapolis race, and we've had students do different things on that track, which is super cool. We have over 30 plus buildings dedicated to engineering. So what we're kind of going to be showing you is a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but here's kind of our campus shot. And it's really important to note that we aren't just an engineering school. That's what we're chatting with you all today. But we have 13 different colleges and schools, over 200 undergraduate majors on our campus. So pretty much it's easier to say what we don't have than what we do have. So we don't have architecture. I don't think we have zoology, but beyond that, maybe you can probably find almost everything else here. So this is kind of an aerial look at our campus. If you really like red brick, we're a pretty good place to go. And it may look big, but there's only 10 minutes between classes. And it's really, we're a good engineering school, a good civil school. It's pretty easy to navigate and get around to the various places. This is one of our new archways. This weekend, lots of students graduated over the summer, and I was seeing families get their picture taken here. Our Memorial Union is kind of the hub of campus, which is being redone right now, which is super cool. There's going to be all these new restaurants and opportunities, outside seating on the deck. And we used to sneak out there, but I think now you're allowed to go out there, which is pretty cool. So we're really excited about that. This is one of our fountains. We're famous for our tradition as our fountain runs. Now, Isabella, have you done a fountain run yet?
I haven't, unfortunately, but everybody that I know has done it and had so much fun. Maybe David will explain, but a fountain run is something that is really particular to Purdue, and it's a tradition that you do once you arrive on campus. So we have 5 fountains spread out all over campus, and we do a run with a lot of people just going through all of these fountains, getting really wet and running around campus. That's crazy. So it is a really fun time to start off classes and really have that Purdue feeling. It's really a tradition that everybody should do, and it's so fun to also meet up people there.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure you do one when you're back here on campus.
Yes.
Yeah. To be fair, she wasn't here for a year, so we'll have to throw you in the water when you get back. I did a full run in my full tuxedo after my last Glee Club show, which is a men's chorus here, which is really fun. So here's another fountain. Someone reading their cell phone in the middle of the bike lane, so you need to be careful about those sorts of things. But we call this the Engineering Mall. I think that's the unofficial name because it's built around all these different engineering buildings. But we have lots of green spaces, lots of study spaces, just lots of cool areas to hang out and to study and be with friends. This is our new Wilmeth Active Learning Center. And I wanted to point this out because the Purdue Engineering Library is actually in this building. I want to say maybe 3 years old, somewhere in there. But it's super cool because it's got all these classrooms. Purdue is known globally for teaching big classes and making them small, calling impact classes. And we did that in engineering, and this was long before COVID. And they have 27 classrooms in that building that allow for us to do things in teams. So you might be in a room of 150, but you're in your team of 4 doing projects. And you might be watching video of lecture or the faculty member from home, and then you come in and you do your homework or activities in the classroom. And that's how our first year engineering classes work as well. So this is a really awesome building. I see students sleeping in there occasionally, studying in there, all that sort of thing. This is our new Bechtel Design Innovation Center. Purdue is known for its innovation, whether that's startups. We're number, I want to say, 5 in the US for startup companies. We're number 3 in the, 3 for startup companies, and number 5 for patent, or 6 for patents in the world for the university as a whole. So students who want to create their own projects, their own products, this building is for you to be able to design and build. And this really isn't a classroom. This is for students who want to do their own projects. Super awesome. Now for aerospace, mechanical, civil, each program in engineering has their own labs and has a variety of hands-on experiences. But this is if you wanted to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show Game of Thrones, if that's big over there, but I know we had one of our students create a board game, Game of Thrones, for her boyfriend for his birthday, and she did the whole thing at the Bechtel Design Center, which was kind of interesting. And then last but not least, Isabella, this is one of your favorites, right? Do you want to talk about the recreational center?
Yes, I really wanted this one to be included. This is what we call COREC. It is mainly the gym of the university. So every single thing that you personally think about gym, sports, well center that should have, it is in this building. And particularly, like, I'm not a big fan of going to the gym, but this semester I'm already made a team of people that will be going play volleyball there. I know that many Brazilians that we have made a team of soccer as well that plays there on the weekends. So inside this building, there are all the gyms. They also have courts, equipment. They have swimming pools of all types. You can do diving. You can do 100 meters of swimming. They have lockers. They have towels. They have everything that you need to support your sport practice and also get the physical, because what is really nice that I like about Purdue is that the academics is really strong, but they have all the amenities to make sure that your physical is also healthy and well. So you have all the possibilities that you can in this building. This is why I love it so much. I did not attend it so much as I wanted, but every single time that I go in there, it's so pretty. It's amazing. They have literally everything. They even have like a wall that you can climb on, like a mountain climb thing, and it's just super fun to do it like on the weekends with your friends. It's a big place. You can find pretty much anything that you think about.
We also have indoor kind of where they do indoor soccer, or football for y'all. The T-Rec, we affectionately call that. And so again, just a lot of resources. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about kind of what the combination of things that make Purdue engineering special, or could be a good fit for you. Isabella had me put pictures of the snow in there, so she can talk about that. That's and I'm not going to go. We're going to hit a lot of these, but I just want to talk a second about it's really the combination of how we do things. We are a large engineering school. And with that just comes a breadth of opportunities and a large university. So there's just so much choice here. And we'll talk about things like internships and going global again, if you want to go to different countries and study or do design programs there. There's just so much choice. We have 17 different majors, which we'll take a quick look at. We have between what we call minors, which is a kind of a smaller section of study or concentrations. We have 80 different flavors or versions of engineering. So there's just a lot of choice. And then beyond that, we've got all the other academic units who are incredibly high level. You know, a lot of people don't think of us for hospitality management. We are the #1 or #2 each and every year in hospitality. We have one of the top 3 creative writing programs. Our College of Science is awesome. Agriculture is one of the best in the world. And so it's very common for our students to do minors, to take classes in other areas, to be able to do cultural things that are brought in by our centers and all of that. So I could go off on this slide for a long time, but we won't hit all of this. But I do want to know, Isabella, why did you choose Purdue?
So why I chose Purdue was mainly because of the academic focus. I'm particularly in aerospace engineering. So Purdue was the university that had the most developed program for aerospace, and that Purdue was also the university that had more research and internships opportunities with companies that go and visit Purdue. We'll be talking more about that later on, but mainly the reasons why I chose Purdue was that because it's so big, a lot of companies go to Purdue and really reach out and take students that are from Purdue. The employers literally go to campus and have career fairs. That is what we call there. So you can really have a one-on-one conversation with someone from that company that will be applying it later. So those are really good opportunities. And also all the clubs, organizations, the really big Brazilian association, Brazilian community we have there, as you can see from the photo. So all of this together really made Purdue the perfect place for me. And is the best choice I've ever made.
Sorry about that, I was unmuted. And you like the snow?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of snow. I am from Campo Grande, so not a lot of people know that in Brazil as well, but it's in Mato Grosso do Sul. So it is a very dry and hot weather here. So I was not used to it, but I always loved the winter. But if you don't like winter or snow that much, we have all seasons throughout the year really characterized. So we have a really nice summer. We have the fall, which I think is in the fall and spring, which I think is beautiful. And the winter is really heavy. So you can have all that fun stuff also that comes with winter. So you can, on the weekends, go skiing somewhere place nearby with your friends. You can do snowman and have snowball fights, going to class with your friends. So there's really many adventures that you really don't care about how cold it is outside once you're having fun or if you're going to classes. So this is something that is really important to say to Brazilian students, that most of people also don't even got in touch with snow before going to Purdue, that I know. So this is a really fun part. You have all the experience.
We'll make sure you get a really warm jacket once you get here.
Yes.
We can help you. We can help you with that.
Yes.
I've already kind of hit a little bit about our rankings and kind of, you know, the university is highly regarded, the engineering program. And then I already talked a little bit about that innovation, about how we teach things, opportunities to start your own company. So I just encourage you all as you're looking, you know, certainly reputation is good. It can open up some doors for sure, but there are lots of great schools across the US and the world, and really looking at who has the programs that that you're looking for, the kind of culture that you connect with, really finding that fit. I have no doubt that if a student, this is where they want to be, they can do amazing things. But we really want it to be, we want you to come and we want you to stay and we want you to graduate. And so we want you to really find that best niche for you wherever that is. We are very proud of the diversity that we have on campus. Within engineering, we have over 100 countries represented within engineering, and it's larger than that university-wide. I want to say, Eugen, I might be a little dangerous. Is it like 125, 130 countries?
135.
Ooh, 135 and growing.
Yep.
So students from all over, we are the founding place of the Women in Engineering, first Women in Engineering program in the country. We are huge proponents of all sorts of diversity. So in order to create products for all populations, we need those populations represented in engineering. We also think engineering is cool. And so we want students to have access from all different backgrounds to create things that help people. So what engineers do, they design things. And then we also firmly believe that the more diverse the team is, the better solution that we're going to have. And so that's why we love to talk with all of you from different parts of the world. We have multiple cultural centers here, including our Latino Cultural Center, our Asian Culture Center. There's multiple there as well. We are the founding place for the National Society of Black Engineers right here on our campus, which is actually an international student organization. So know that there's lots of people from lots of different backgrounds, and there's lots of support for everyone to be successful here. So here gives you kind of a little bit of the numbers you can see. 16% of our students within the College of Engineering are international. And I think what we tailored it down to 56 undergraduates in engineering are from Brazil, to give you a sense. So it's big, but yet it's not big when you look at 10,000. But when we're talking about from different countries, it's a good population. There's certainly, Isabella, you'd say a community here, right?
Yeah, for sure. All the Brazilian people, we have really made a community there. We also are linked to BRASA, that is the Brazilian Student Association. There's BRASA even all around the world, not just at Purdue, and not just in the United States. So we really have that sense of community, and we make a lot of Brazilian events, like we make feijoada, we make a barbecue, a churrasco. Once a year. So we have all those fun things to do that we even bring more people from Purdue also that are not Brazilian to come to those events and have fun with us. So we are really built on that sense of community and helping each other. And I think I'm from Brazil as well, and I was a director last year. So I think we really do a good job in bringing in people that are new to this environment, like applying to a university outside of your country, and that can be really scary. So we would make sure that every freshman that comes from Brazil, like it's welcomed with open arms by us. So that's what we really try to do. And I think Purdue is a great place that allows us to do that.
Awesome. So all of you, we're going to show you the majors here in just a second, so we'll get you excited for that. But all of our students start in first year engineering. So although, if Isabella knew it was aerospace coming in, we're like, great, that's awesome. But we want you to spend a little time to kind of either reaffirm that or figure out, is there another major within engineering that might even be a better fit for you? And as we know, for example, the aerospace industry, they hire mechanical, electrical, aerospace, chemical. I could almost go through every one. Nuclear, environmental. I had one of the students in our office, who was at a company, Northrop Grumman, who's in the aerospace industry, who was doing environmental work. So again, getting the opportunity to learn that. So you will be when you apply to the College of Engineering, the first year engineering program, and you're admitted to that. You spend the first year, first of all, kind of continuing with maybe some of your favorites like calculus, chemistry, physics, English. We do require a speech course, and you will continue to need to be able to present and communicate. Really important for engineers to be able to take those technical ideas and convey them to others. So they'll give you millions of dollars to do projects or to get your ideas across, those sorts of things. And then you'll take 2 engineering courses, and those courses are designed to help you explore all the majors. And so you'll do various things like you'll be quizzed on the majors and watch videos. You'll be required to meet with a certain number of schools and talk to them, talk to faculty, staff. Usually you get invited with food, which is always good. There's a lot of free food in college, at least at Purdue, to come see their resources and do that. We have a library that we've developed, a career library for our students. So really trying to help you look at all the different disciplines to figure out where you want to go as a sophomore. Then it's design, teaming. So you work in a team from week 1 and do 2 projects. And then it's problem solving. And so those are the things that you're going to learn in those classes. Do you want to talk a little bit, Isabel, about, I think you knew Aero, but do you want to talk about your first year engineering classes and anything you think is important that was about the first year?
Sure. Yeah, I always had in mind that I wanted to do aerospace engineering. So either way, you have to go through that first year engineering once you get in Purdue and when you're applying. But it is also a great opportunity to have contact with all the different kinds of majors in engineering, because if you already know that you want something, it's good to have that contact to even make sure that that is what you want. And there's a lot of practice in groups through the first year engineering classes, which I think is really nice because it really develops communication skills, working in groups. And we also, through that 2 engineering classes that we have in the first year, there's also a lot of coding besides all the basic classes that we take, that is calculus and math, the chemistry, physics, everything like that. But the first year of engineering makes sure to build a general base of engineering. So whichever engineering major specific you want to go into, you can succeed in that. So one thing that I think was really good for me in the first year engineering classes was that I was able to have experience with coding for the first time. And I had coding in 3 different coding languages. So that was something really new to me, but that I could have a touch and really work out on problems from the first class. So this is something that really changed my mind, and that it was like, oh my God, this is what I really like doing. So it's also reassuring, all of this process that you have in first year engineering. Also, once you come in, many of the buildings of the dorms that people live in their first year, they are divided by learning communities, for example, which I think we'll be talking more about. But learning communities, they work on projects specifically, and you have certain types of classes within them. So I was in one of them, and it really made a huge difference for me, because right in my first semester of engineering at Purdue, I had hands-on experience, and I was able to work in a project with seniors, with sophomores, juniors, with graduate students, even that are the professors or the TAs that are with you. So you really have a lot of exposure, and this is something I really enjoyed about learning communities and the entire first year engineering experience at Purdue, that I really think that it stands out from everything else.
Yeah, so you typically with learning communities, you're living together and then you're paired up in the same classes. So you're doing those projects, as Isabella mentioned. So we have pathway where you're doing community engineering. So you're working for one of our nonprofit agencies. It might be an elementary school, helping them. We designed this laser harp that actually plays super cool to teach optics and physics. For example, we've worked with Riley's Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. We did a mechanical horse. So to strengthen your muscles of your belly, the abdominal muscles, kids ride horses, but sometimes they're not ready to just be put on a horse. And so we were able to design that, and now the therapists use that and then take them out. So that's one way to go. We have an honors college, and within the honors college, there's our honors first year engineering courses, which gets into even more coding and robotics and physics. We also have a pathway as a freshman where you could do research with upperclassmen or be paired with a company. So research for a company or with faculty your very first year, called our VIP, vertically integrated project. So there's, again, multiple choices. No matter which engineering courses you take, first year, you're going to do 2 projects each semester, working in your team, and you'll be with that team pretty much the entire semester. So the whole goal, as Isabella mentioned, is to kind of get you to your major of choice. And so if you take a quick look here, And we won't go through all these. If you've got some real particular questions, we can try and address some of those, maybe via the chat, or we're happy to follow back up with you. But as you can see here, it really does range between the majors as far as the number of students go. Electrical and computer are two majors in what we would call one school. So you could do computer engineering or electrical. Mechanical, those are all, that's our biggest one major. So that's mechanical engineering. But then in each of these majors, you've typically got focus areas. So within mechanical, you could do more like solid mechanics or fluid mechanics, design specialty, HVAC. Within industrial, those are kind of efficiency experts integrating people into technology and industry. And so human factors, how people work. We have a new building going up. It's going to have multiple new industrial engineering, manufacturing labs, which is going to be really cool. I guess I have to bring up aeronautical and astronautical for Isabella and for all of you, which has been growing, as you guys have seen. There's a lot going on within the industry. It's not just private. There's a lot of things going on in the public commercial sector of space, which just hasn't existed. The flight that went up, was it Virgin, that went up with Richard Branson, had 2 Purdue alumni on that flight, 2 women, which was really amazing. So you can see the rest. Multidisciplinary, I'll just talk briefly about those because you may look at them and go, that's where you have an opportunity. Those are kind of focused. We have some specialty areas. I'd say like you could do theater engineering or acoustical engineering. And these are what we would call accredited. So Purdue is ABET accredited, which means a governing body is saying, yes, we're doing a good job. We're covering what engineers need to know. And if you wanted to, you could work towards your license as an engineer. Not all engineers do that. Some industries like civil kind of require it depending on the type of job. But for most engineers, you do not have to work towards your professional license. There can be some benefits as far as upward movement in jobs, could be pay and those sorts of things. So, but that's where multidisciplinary comes in, and you can see biomedical, biological. So there's lots of different ways to do biomedical. You could go mechanical and do biomechanics. You could go biological, and that's cellular. Think of genetic engineering. That's kind of where that lives. So there's lots of different ways to do things, and that's why we think it's really important to look at all the different majors. And then move to your major of choice. So if there's something particular, feel free to put that in the chat. And we are also more than happy to put you in touch with folks from those different disciplines. As I said, typically it's the first year is where you're going to kind of reaffirm that. What we find is half the students have come in and indicated they'd like to study this major. On the app, you can put your area of interest, but it doesn't impact your admissions at all. And what we find is those students that do that, half of them change their mind by the end of the first semester. So again, we just think it's really important to be able to look at all the different majors, as well as work with students across all the different disciplines. So we wanted to hit some of our student experiences that encompass all of engineering. And so EPICS is one of those. When I mentioned in the first year, you could do a community project, that's what EPICS is. And you can do it beyond your first year. So after the first year, if you want to do it for a technical elective, you can do that. This is a group of students. First of all, see how happy they are. These are the smiles. Okay, most of the time. If it's finals week, that's our big exam week, they may not be this smiley. But as a whole, students are pretty happy on campus. But they are doing a reverse Braille reader for the Indiana School of the Blind. And so not all of the teachers there read Braille. And so this will convert it back into English for them. And they're working on a patent for that project. We work with a lot of accessibility. So we work with a company here in Lafayette where they are adults with disabilities, and we design tools for them to be able to do packaging and light manufacturing on their own. And so again, there's 45 different teams, multiple projects. Some of these are also global, which we'll talk a little bit about. I know that we're working on solar panels for an elementary school outside of Medellin, Colombia, for example, and that's part of our EPICS teams doing that. But there's lots of different ways to kind of do that. Isabel, was it EPICS that you did?
Yes, I did EPICS and was in the aerospace team.
And what was your project?
Project was to build a display for a GE fan blade. So it would be a display for a real airplane fan blade that would be displayed at the Neil Armstrong Hall.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so research is definitely an opportunity as well. We are a Research One institution. There are multiple projects across the university. It's pretty common for our students who have this interest to do research. The College of Engineering has its own undergraduate office that can help you kind of prepare for that. We also have an undergraduate office university-wide, so there's resources there as well. We have formal programs during the school year where you can apply and actually get paid, working maybe in our nanotechnology center, out at Discovery Park, lots of different options there. Or it could be in the summer. We have fellowship programs that are paid. We also, students do for credit. Senior year, most of all of those majors that we have listed have courses that actually can build in undergraduate research if that's something you want to do. But the most common way is to just contact faculty and say, hey, what are you doing? I mean, you maybe don't say it just like that. Maybe you say, wow, I've looked at your website and I'm really interested in what you're doing with Parkinson's, for example. We've had undergrads working on sensors to help control tremors for Parkinson's is one example that I've had undergrads working on, which is neat. Think of real world challenges. One of the students in our office is working with someone over in the Polytechnic, which is our College of Technology, for heating and air systems, but she's an environmental engineer and using plants to purify the air in traditional heating and air systems. I mean, it's amazing. You'll see we have lots of aerospace research going on. We have the aerospace corridor. So, I could pinpoint for all the different majors, different types of labs and things that we have. I'll highlight aero. But we have the most powerful of any college jet propulsion laboratory in the country is here, and they do single cell propulsion. We have the quietest Mach 6 wind tunnel in the world, and we're building a Mach 8 wind tunnel. And so the goal, what this means to me, is here in the US, is they want to figure out how we can fly from New York to Los Angeles in 15 minutes. That's what they're coming up with. So here in the US, that's the entire country trying to figure that out. Right now, I want to say it's more like a 6 to 7 hour flight. I've never done that quite country. And so we also have the largest motion caption lab. Think of like Lord of the Rings, kind of the green screen, but this is to capture unmanned vehicles. So doing like drones, we're doing research with the Air Force Military Academy with drones and things like that. So again, there's just lots of opportunities. And Isabella, have you done research? I don't think you have yet. Do you have friends that have done this? Anything you want to add?
I haven't done it particularly, but I have two friends that are working on research this summer. For example, and one of them is in chemical engineering, which is Brazilian, and the other one is in biomedical cellular. She's not engineering, it's a science major, but she's also working with research.
Cool. So again, it's very common. I typically like to say if a student has good grades, decent grades, and can communicate, can talk, that you can do amazing things here. There's no reason you can't do research. We also have internships and co-op opportunities. So with co-op, that's where we, really the defining difference is that it's rotational, and that you're going to do at least 3 rotations, usually with the same company, between going to Purdue and then going to that country, going to that company and then coming back. And you can start that as early as the summer after you complete your freshman year. This usually does extend your time. So if you're GE Aircraft Engines or Procter & Gamble or some of those companies, you're usually going to stay with them. We are adding more flexibility in that, and we're adding a 1-year program where you can stay connected with campus and do a year. We're adding a program where you can do 2 rotations with one company and then one last one with someone else. So know that that's a possibility. More common is internships, which is typically you going to our job fairs, working with our Center for Career Opportunities, which is kind of our placement office career experts, helping you with resume, getting things going, and meeting up with them, and talking to companies, and usually in the summer, but could be during the semester. For our international students, certainly there are opportunities to do this, and I would say, you know, here in the US, we would have as many opportunities as pretty much any other university, because, or more than most, because we have so many companies that come to Purdue, at over 400 that typically come just for one of our job fairs. That being said, it can be a little more challenging for international students to get those, but I want, Isabella, I know you've done some back home, but I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I have done an internship here in Brazil, and that was only through here. I did almost a year of an internship here online this year. But internships and co-ops are something that are very, they happen on a really regular basis. Something that I like about Purdue is that we have those career fairs, so hundreds of employers, they come to campus and you have the chance to talk to them. They have the CCO, that is an office at Purdue that helps you with resume, with practicing interviews. So every time you have an interview, a job interview, you need to know, you want to know like how your resume is. You can contact them, schedule a meeting, and they will go through with that, with you, like what you can do better, you can practice. So these opportunities are great. And even for internships and co-ops, Purdue also has clubs and organizations that help you with that. Example, it's GEAR, which is an organization that I'm in. And GEAR is a study abroad opportunity, but it also has work abroad opportunities. So what they do is that you can travel abroad to study, have a semester, a full year abroad in another country, but you can also have an internship there or have a co-op in a company that is outside of the United States as well. So a lot of Brazilian students do that. A lot of international students also do that. It's a great opportunity. And I myself, I expect to do that in a year. I expect to travel abroad. So we'll have even more to talk about this opportunity, but it's great every time. And Purdue has a really great support on supporting students, and also all the Brazilian people, they can get a fair chance to apply to those jobs. Generally, international students, they can have some trouble with some types of internships because some of them require US citizenship, but as long as you apply for jobs that do not require that, almost every single company has types of internships that are open to international students. And the facility that Purdue does is that you can get in touch with those industries right on campus. So it's great.
So Isabel led me very nicely into global experiences, study abroad, and she talked about GEAR. I'm really not going to hit too much more on this, but that's just one example. Know that you can go, you know, study somewhere else for a semester, for a week. We have spring break trips. We have summer trips. Actually, we're planning for next summer. You could be in Taipei. Taipei could be your first Purdue engineering class. So it's all freshmen in Taipei, and then you would come back for student orientation here and then take your courses here. So we think it's really important to be exposed to different cultures, how people think, how things are different. And this is just an awesome way. Usually this is, you'll be studying abroad here and have that experience, but know that there's other parts of the world that will be an opportunity for you. And then last but not least, on kind of the student experience, is the student life. We have over 1,000 student organizations on this campus. So everything, and close to 100 engineering. So if you want to do the one picture up there, we have the greatest spectacle in college racing, which is a big go-kart race that different residence halls and sororities and really any type of group get together and build go-karts. And we have a big race. We have a cool track. We have a solar car that we design and build. We have multiple, I think, rocket clubs that do like orbital and a variety of those. So again, there's lots of ways to continue to do hands-on engineering, but you can get involved in trying new things, or if there's something you're really passionate about, continuing that. One of the things that I love about this community is that our students they love to give, they love to give back and to do things, whether that's for campus or the greater Lafayette community. So there's pretty much every student organization does some form of service, whether that's working with kids or helping paint something on a various day of giving or whatever it might be. So Isabella, what other groups are you involved in? What do you do for fun? Is there life in West Lafayette, Indiana?
Yes. So one thing about West Lafayette is that it is a very small city. So we're just across the river from Lafayette, which is another city. And West Lafayette, it's mainly Purdue. Like the entire city is basically the entire university. So with that conception, a lot of people think that it's a small city, there's nothing much to be done. However, I can assure you, my freshman year, I had something to do every single weekend. And there are so many clubs and organizations you can join that do the most various things you can think about. Everything that you can think of, there's an organization, there's a club you can do. You can do hiking, you can do any type of sports, any type really of hobbies that you have. Certainly there will be an organization that you can join. And especially there are ones that even they schedule events to go to. So some of them have rock concerts. It's a group of people that want to go to rock concerts in Indianapolis or Chicago, and they manage that together. I have been to Six Flags, that is an amusement park with the biggest roller coasters in the United States. So there's a club that managed to do that type of thing. With that same club, I went skiing once. So there's really a lot to do within like an hour drive. And there's so many organizations that you just pay like a ticket and they will take care of the bus, of everything, of the entry to the park or anything like that. And you can spend a weekend with them. It's amazing. You can do that with all friends and you can meet a lot of people. Besides that, you can see with the Brazilian flag, it's brasa, that was our feijoada. We do all sorts of events as well throughout the year that are really mainly focused on Brazilian culture. In the winter, there are a lot of fun things that, as I have said, that you can also do. Like you can see the girl going down the hill. We have a big hill in the main, like right in the center of the Purdue campus. There's they called Slater Hill, and a lot of people like to grab cardboards and just go sliding down the hill with pretty much anything they have. It's pretty fun. There's like 100 people on the top of the hill coming down. We do that every single day of really heavy snow. There are a lot of sports that you can go into. You can buy ticket passes to attend every single football or basketball or volleyball game if you want from Purdue, because we have really big stadiums and they host a lot of the university played games. So there's really a lot to do, and you just really say it and you can search and there's probably somebody doing it already. And also something that I would like to mention that I forgot is that with the study abroad, work abroad, and internships that we were talking before, this summer I was involved with GEAR. I had the opportunity to work in a global design project with a group of students from KIT, that is a university in Germany. They call Institute of Technology. So I actually, from here in Brazil, I was working online through Purdue to work with a group of students in Germany. And we were all talking in English. We were doing a project for a powertrain of a hybrid tractor that was pretty innovative. So we had a lot of fun doing it. And I certainly learned a lot and could do a lot with that. I have a lot that I can talk about now. And all of those type of things, there are all experience that we grabbed from Purdue and that it's available to us. So Gear really opened a lot of doors for me and keep opening every day. So every time there's a new project, a new design project, a research, a study abroad, or an internship that you can apply, you can probably be involved with. And with that, there's a lot of people that is also behind. So you get to know a lot of people, you get to talk, communicating skills, you earn them. So everything really is a practice for you. It's something that really involves you and doesn't make West Lafayette look small at all. So even I was at home for the past year and a half, had online classes for almost a year. I was here at home, but even though all of that, I still had that feeling with Purdue. And I really missed that. So being on campus is the most amazing feeling ever. And I'm really excited to come back. So this is all the great opportunities and the great experience that you can have. And this is why I love Purdue so much.
Well, we're excited to get you back on campus too. So with that, how do you get to campus? I'm gonna pass it over to you to talk a little bit about the application process.
Awesome. Thank you, David. I feel like I've learned so much, like mind-blowing about all those things engineering students are doing. Thank you, David and Isabella. So hopefully all those great informations about Purdue engineering and all the excited opportunities that Purdue offers to our students get you really pumped up about maybe thinking about you want to start a Purdue application right now or in the near future. So for my part, I'm just going to briefly talk about the application process, some of the admission criteria, important deadline, and the cost of attend. So for all the freshmen applicants, you will be applying through Common App, which is an online platform where you can apply to multiple universities at the same time. And once you select Purdue, there are going to be a few Purdue specific questions on your Common applications. Things like why Purdue, why the major that you put on your applications. So if you attended this session, it'll be very, very helpful for you to answer those Purdue questions. Self-reported is something Common Apps let their students do. On the Common App, you will be able to self-report your courses and grades, test scores such as ACT or ACT, and your English proficiency test results. Just to spend a little more time on this, on the grade, test scores, English proficiency requirements. So for courses and grades, we will need 3 consecutive years of high school transcript. So if you're doing the Brazilian high school curriculum, your high school is only 3 years. If you're a senior student, during grade 12, you have to provide transcript from 9th grade till your 11th grade. Even 9th grade is not part of your high school transcript. For coursework requirement, Purdue requires students to have 8 semesters of math, English, 6 semesters of social studies, and lab sciences. And if you're interested in applying to engineering, 2 of those lab sciences subject needs to be chemistry. From the international admissions point of view, we are a little flexible when it comes to coursework requirement because we understand the curriculum can be really different depending on where you're from or what kind of curriculum you're currently studying. Test scores applies to ACT and ACT tests. I would say it's always optional for international applicants, but before COVID happened, I would say majority of our international applicants did apply with the ACT or ACT test result, but we've seen a dramatic decrease last year, which is really understandable because COVID caused not challenging for international students to access ACT and ACT test centers in their countries. So Purdue as an institution, we start this test flexible policy last year, which means if you have access to testing centers, if you can provide ACT test results, we do encourage you to do so. But if you are not able to access the test, or you have to go out of your way, spend enough energy to do the test, we would encourage a student not to do it, and just to spend that time and that energy to maybe improve your grades, do some extracurricular activities, or prepare for the more important test, which is your English proficiency test. So English proficiency test is required for international citizens from non-English speaking countries. Currently, Purdue accepts TOEFL IBT Home Edition, IELTS indicator, and Duolingo English test. So you do have those in-person tests as well as online options if you cannot access a testing center. If you are applying to engineering, just know that you will need to have at least the 80 or higher for your English, for your TOEFL IBT test, with 20 or higher for each section, 6.5 or higher for IELTS, and 6.0 or higher for each section, and overall score of 110 or higher for your Duolingo. And then essay is a very important part of your application. So you'll be able to complete your college essay within your common applications. Another thing to know is Purdue evaluates student holistically. That just means we look at everything, not just your academic records, your test scores, your English proficiencies. We also look at your college essay, how you answer the why Purdue questions, why major, and your extracurricular activities, as well as your recommendation letter, which is optional but highly encourage students to provide at least 1 or 2 recommendation letters. Last but not least is a $60 non-refundable application fee. And if you need a waiver to waive the application fee, you will be able to apply that waiver through Common App. Next slide. So some of the important deadline for you to keep in mind, if you're a senior student or thinking about applying to fall 2022, our fall 2022 application has live. So you will be able to apply right now if you have everything ready to go. So August 1st, application goes live. October 1st, if you're a US citizen or a US green card holder or permanent resident, that's when FAFSA goes live, that's for financial aid. November 1st is our early action deadline, application deadline. So that, which means you have to complete your Common App along with all the required documents by November 1st. It is also the deadline for merit-based scholarship if you are a US citizen or green card holders and are honors college. And pro tip on this, we always encourage students to apply by the early action deadline because that's when the most space are available. And once you get later into the game, the competition is much higher. Next. So January 15th, for students who applied by November 1st, this is the date that you will hear from Purdue about your admission decisions. So this is the decision release day where everybody applied by November 1st will receive their decision. It is also the deadline for regular decision application deadline, which means this will be the last chance for you to apply to Purdue. You will need to complete your common application with all the required document by January 15th. If you wish to be considered for fall 2022. Another thing about Purdue's admission is Purdue's offer is non-binding, and not like some of the other universities, which means you don't have to commit to Purdue right away on January 15th. Once you get your decisions, every student will have till May 1st to accept their Purdue offer. I know cost of attendance is something a lot of students really care about. So for right now, our tuition fees for international students, this is for a whole year, is a little over $31,000. Room and board is the same with Indiana residents, out-of-state residents at $10,030. So the total cost for 1 year with tuition fees and room and board is around $41,134. And some of the program might have some additional fees. And we always like to be transparency about our scholarship is as a land grant and public institutions, Purdue is not able to offer merit-based or need-based scholarship for international students. So when you're offered admissions to Purdue, you do have to prepare to pay it by yourself. But another important thing to know is Purdue has been tuition frozen for 10 years, which is not common for American institutions. Not of the institutions increase their tuitions between 1% to 3% every year. And Purdue hasn't done that since 2013 and will continue that till at least year 2023. So even without scholarship, if you compare Purdue's cost to some of our peer institutions, our cost is still pretty competitive and is considered a great return for investment.
One thing I will add just real quick is that there are opportunities depending on the major, at least within engineering, once you move to that major for international students to apply for scholarships. See it quite common in larger programs like electrical and mechanical. Now these aren't large awards. I think the average is around 2,500 depending, but it could be larger or smaller. But know that there are some ways, certainly doing paid research, if it's possible to get paid internships, different ways to kind of help pay for school too. So I just wanted to chime in on that one.
Yeah, it's called supplemental scholarship, so you can check it out. I think student will have access to what we call scholarship universe once you start your Purdue applications. So check that out just to see if there's any supplemental scholarship that are available to international students. The last one, I just want to briefly talk about the orientation programs that we offer to admitted student. One is called V-STAR, the Virtual Summer Transition Advising and Registration. It is an online orientation program, sort of provide you with all the resources and supports that you need to know that Purdue offers to our student. It also offers opportunities for you to virtually meet with your academic advisor before you even set a foot on campus, and to help you with your class registration for the semester that you are admitted to. The Boiler Gold Rush International is our in-person orientation program that happened a week before the school starts. It's a great program that has tons of fun activities, kind of help you transition into the American campus, get you opportunities to learn know about your peers, familiar with the campus so you don't get lost on the first day of school, and maybe get your bank account set up, phone cards set up, so you're all set on the first day of school. And I'm sure like Isabella has some fun experiences from BGRI. So my part is over. I'm going to pass the mic to Isabella to talk about BGRI, and then David will take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Eugen. Yes, so BGRI and BGR, I think it's a great part of Purdue. BGRI specifically, it's for international students, and it really does help a lot because it helps with you to set up your bank account, cell phone number, credit cards, things like that when you're first moving into the United States, when you don't have any of those things. So it's really a time to have everything set up so you're good to go for the entire semester and for the entire stay that you have at Purdue. So it's really a good opportunity. And besides that, the BGRI, how it works is that you're set to a group of people that are all international students. So you meet with people that are all around the world, and you get to stay with them for an entire week and do fun activities. You go to different buildings in the campus, so you know where you have where's the bookstore, where are certain classes, where is the hospital, for example. So it's really an adaptation time for everyone, and it's good that Purdue has this program because it really helps on getting accommodated to the campus, to the life, getting to know the trajectories to get into your classes. This all happens more in the first week of classes. It's all very confusing at first, but the BGR really makes a great job for you to get to know the entire campus and talking with a lot of people that oftentimes will be they will be your friends for the entire year or things like that. You keep seeing each other. So this is really the first contact you have with the American people, and also people that are having the same experience as you do. And after the BGRI, it starts the BGR, which are for all students. So you can go for BGRI because you're an international student, but you can also attend BGR that are for American students as well. So you have similar activities, but nothing is quite the same. But you can still have even more interaction. There are lots of, at least in my time, I don't know how it's going to be now with the pandemic and everything's getting better, but at my time we used to have big showcases, like big shows and everything, we had some webinars, what's the name? Like health and well-being panels that were really helpful, that were really funny sometimes, so it was very fun to attend. There are the traditional dance from BGR that it's to bond everybody together, so you get an awkward dancing moment with all your friends. So this is always a great opportunity and really supports you to get to know campus, get more familiar with it, because that will be your house for the next 4 years. And this does a great job. I love BGR, and with that also comes the fountain run that I said before, which is, I think, is the best part. Unfortunately, I was not able to go because I was sick by the time that my group went to do the fountain run, but I am going to do it at some point because it's a traditional thing you have to do. So there are this bunch of fun activities that you do with your groups. You get to know a lot of people that you'll be seeing in your classes on the next few weeks and semesters. Like I still run in classes with people that I met when I was in BGR, for example. And this photo that you can see above, it's one of the transitions as well at Purdue. There's this trail road and everybody jumps from one side to the other. And that's kind of the passage of you like entering Purdue. And then once you graduate, you have to jump to the other side. That is like you have finished your journey there. So there are all these types of fun activities, but there are also main traditions that you get to, like you'll learn a lot and you'll listen a lot about them when you're at Purdue, and you get this really support and kind of a family feeling once you get there.
And let me clarify, there's train tracks, but no trains, okay? So as they're doing these traditions, so it's super cool from the old tracks. So thank you so much, Isabella, for all that information, and Eugen, really appreciate it. So here's our contact information. And so again, it sounds like this presentation is gonna be available after we're gone live, which is good. So you'll be able to have contact, but please do feel free to reach out to us. And probably the last thing I quickly wanted to say is kind of building off when Isabella was talking about Purdue is West Lafayette. It makes for a really tight knit, safe community. And so, you know, we all kind of bleed black and gold and look after each other. We have our own police force. We have our own fire department. We have safe boxes. It's a very, by being kind of, we're away from a lot of urban, but yet we're not that far. And so it just makes for a really kind of, you know, we're rah Purdue, love Purdue experience. So I kind of wanted to end with that. Was there any last quick words? I know we've gone a little late. I don't know if we have time for Simone, time for questions.
We have, hi David, just let me say something. The presentation was so engaging and you answered all my questions. I had so many questions I received during the week from students, and really I was taking a look at each one of the questions. You all answered, Isabella, and you all always answer the questions, and very good job. But anyway, you have 5 more minutes. We need to end up at 5:15. And there are a couple of questions that I think it's important to answer. One of them is about IB curriculum, and the other one is about the College of Engineering, the Polytechnic Institute, especially for mechanical engineering, or what is the biggest difference?
Do you want me to take the IB question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so with the IB curriculum, we don't have like specific requirement about what IB scores you have to receive for each subject, but our average, I would say our average IB score is about 5 for individual subject, and we do kind of look into your math subject, physics, chemistry, biology. Things are kind of STEM related, especially if you're applying to engineering. IB students still have to, I know a lot of IB curriculums are taught in English, but unfortunately we do still require IB students to provide a proof of English proficiency, which means they still have to take TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo just to have that proof during the application process. I saw there's another question. Student says the IB chemistry is not offered, which is okay. We understand the rigorous of the IB curriculum. As I mentioned earlier, it's a holistic reviewing process. So we do look at other aspects of the application just to see if students is prepared and have the skills to start at the FYE program. So it's okay if you don't have the chemistry.
Just one more question about testing. What about if a student applies under the not sending SAT or ACT scores?
Yes.
And
So
the other student decide to send SAT and ACT scores. The biggest concern for Brazilian students is, well, if I don't send my scores, I will be in disadvantage. What do you think about that?
I would say we learned how to review applications without test score really well from last year, because normally we have, I would say before COVID, we have 90% of our international applicants provide a test score. Last year, that number probably dropped to 30%. So we understand, we look at other aspect of their application. We look at their essay, look at, there's an additional section in Common App. It says how COVID affect me. So I think that's very important for students who really, their study really got impacted by COVID. I highly encourage students to fill out that sections during the application process. We look at their academic records, their test scores, just any other things they can provide it within their applications to make that decision. We realize we don't really need that test scores, and we understand why they can't provide it. So we take that, we have the COVID lens when we review applications. Last year, I think that trend is just gonna continue for this application cycle too. And they can use ACT, sorry, David, they can potentially use ACT or SAT, the English section score, to prove their English proficiency. I'll put a link there. It's our English proficiency requirement page.
Thank you for clarifying. We always tell them that as test options, really test optional. They can take advantage, but it's really important to hear from the specialists, from you guys at the university. Thank you.
And the one thing I'll add is, I believe, and Eugen, keep me honest here, I believe with a 5 on the higher level exams, it could be possible to actually have credit coming in as well with IB. So we do see students come in with math and chemistry sometimes, right? I think.
Yes. I can put that there.
So no, it is possible to kind of move to the next level.
Yep, they can come in with another credits.
Yeah.
And we have one final question, and the question is for David. I would like, Eduardo is saying, I would like to know what's the difference between the engineering management course in the multidisciplinary engineering concentration offered by the College of Engineering and the integrated business engineering course offered by the Graduate School of Management. Wow.
Whoa.
Tough
Okay,
question,
so let's,
huh?
I'll try and be efficient. I'll quickly talk about the Purdue Polytechnic and the College of Engineering, and know that the jobs that you receive and do can overlap within different degree programs. But I will say the preparation is different. With the College of Engineering, you're going to take 5 math courses, 2.5 years of math, more physics and science, so more theory, where we're preparing you from the university end for new innovation, for problem solving, creating new innovation. The Polytechnic tends to take that innovation and make it better or make more or those sorts of things. Now, that being said, an engineer can do jobs where they're in manufacturing, where they're doing technical sales, where they're doing design. You can do all those things, but the preparation is a little different. And so there's an unmanned vehicle major in the Polytechnic, drones. So when you think about a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer is going to be trained to create new innovation, to build new drones, where that major is going to take that innovation and take that drone to figure out how to make it work best for an application. So maybe it's dropping off what you purchased by Amazon in your front yard. So they do cross over, but the core, as far as careers, but the coursework is completely different. There really is very little crossover in the education, although we do research with them. There are design competitions and things. Real quickly, the integrated business and engineering degree, that is a management degree. So you get kind of the first year of engineering built into that. But your degree is out. You don't take enough engineering courses to be accredited as an engineer. It's really for those students who know they want to do business, but they want to be able to speak the language that engineers speak so that they can take those ideas and make money off of those, that technical type of experience. We used to call it, it used to be called something different, and they've changed it a little bit. I want to say it was industrial business or something along those lines. Actually, Drew Brees, who was a quarterback here and one of our more famous alums, he did that degree and what it was before. So it's important to note that you do get like the first year engineering and intro to design, but you are not getting an engineering degree if you do integrated business and engineering. You could go multidisciplinary engineering in our college and do business and be accredited as an engineer as well. You take more engineering classes, that would be the biggest difference. So I'm happy if students have more particular questions, you can reach out to me via my email, or, it is what's great about the first year engineering program, really just being at Purdue, you're going to learn about all those options to kind of figure out what is the best fit. Typically, if students are kind of thinking they're seniors right now, I encourage them, if you're not really leaning heavily one way or the other, start in engineering and then consider switching over. That might be a possibility. It's difficult to switch the other way. Computer science, which is not in the College of Engineering, is in the College of Science, is another one of those where if you're thinking computer science at all, you want to apply directly to the computer science program. And we have computer engineering, which is more hardware focused. And again, I could talk a lot about that, but so hopefully I kind of answered that. The cool thing is when you add our science, technology, and engineering majors, we have one of the largest array of degrees in the world within the STEM fields.
We are the #1 destinations for international students who are interested in STEM. So science, technology, engineering, mathematics, choose Purdue.
Wow, a lot to learn, always learning. Great session. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to stop recording.